What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight, doing more lake breakdowns as usual. We are actually going southeast today. We're going way down there. We're going down to Lake Houston. We had a subscriber ask about that lake, see if we could break it down for him, and we're going to deliver. So tonight, we're going to jump into the Google Earth side. We'll have one video on that. Or actually, we're going to have two videos on the Google Earth side, and then we'll jump into the offshore stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into it tonight. Let's start off looking at the Texas Park and Wildlife page. We'll jump over to Google Earth. We'll take it from there. Let's go. Before we jump into Google Earth and start talking about the waypoints for Lake Houston, the first thing we always do on Simplistic Fishing is I go out and I take you out here to the Texas Park and Wildlife page. And it's always a great place to go. I know you guys have heard me talk about it a lot if you've watched my breakdowns before, but definitely great place to go if you're going to this lake for the first time, or maybe you've been on this lake before a lot and you're just kind of want to know a little bit more about it. So let's just kind of jump into it real quick. Let's talk about where it's at first. It's on the West Fork of San Jacinto River, 15 miles northeast of Houston in Harris County, Texas. Its surface area is 11,854 acres, so it's pretty decent size. Maximum depth is 45 feet. There's a lot of shallow water in this lake as well, and it was impounded in 1954. The fluctuation really doesn't fluctuate that much, but the clarity definitely fluctuates. You can tell when you're on Google Earth, it goes from really clear to really muddy, just depending on what year that you're looking at. So definitely something to think about when you go there. You know, be prepared to, if it's been raining a lot, be prepared to fish some very muddy water. As far as vegetation and stuff goes, it says there's various flooded terrestrial and native emergent plants, along with exotic species water like hyacinth, alligator weed, and water lettuce. So definitely stuff that I'm not used to fishing around, but there is a lot of cover in this lake, and we're going to talk about it on Google Earth because this lake looks pretty cool to fish for sure. So predominant species: largemouth bass, white crappie, blue catfish, and bluegill. Let's look at the lake records real quick. And I always like to look in here and see what the largemouth is. The biggest largemouth in here was 1047 back in 1996. I would guess that's probably been beat by now, surely. 10-pounder in Southeast Texas. Come on now, we got to get bigger than that. All right, as far as lake maps, it says none are available. And then when we get down here, it says largemouth bass is fair. So maybe it's really not that great of a largemouth bass fishing lake, but shoot, it's in southern Texas, so it's got to be pretty good. Catfish, crappie, white bass, and sunfish. And that is really about it as far as the Texas Park and Wildlife page goes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch us over. We're going to go to Google Earth. We're going to jump into this thing. Well, here we are on Google Earth Pro. And what I want to do is show you how I have this all broken down as far as Lake Houston goes. So I'm going to draw this back up to 2022 so you can see everything. Now, the first thing I want to show you are really the offshore spots. So we have all the offshore spots out here. So you can see all of them in here. And I've actually labeled these as well. So just bends, points, ledges, humps, swings, all kinds of good stuff in there. I've also got channels marked so you can see all these green lines. These are your creek channels. So really easy to line your boat up and get on these creek channels or these ditches. That looks like it might be a little ditch there, but definitely a creek channel in here, another little ditch in there. So definitely some good stuff there. There are some pretty major like creek channels up here, but nothing really I can mark for you guys. There's a pretty decent one right in there as well. We'll talk about those in a minute. We've also got lots of laydowns. So you can see there's laydowns all over this lake that you can fish. So definitely if the laydown pattern was on, you've got plenty to find there. You've also got cover. So all your cover are going to be your stick ups, your rocks, your stuff like that, anything that I could find there. Your ramps as well. Ramps are always good, really good pattern to run, especially if you can find lakes that have a lot of those private ramps, which this one has quite a few, but it doesn't have so many that the ramp pattern might not be effective. So I really like that. And then also, I told you rock earlier. Rock was its own category. So I've also marked all the different areas where I can find rock on this lake. So let's jump into this thing. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw this back to February of 2013. That was the best image I could find. And you can see when I'm drawing through this, let's take you back to 2011 real quick. Or 2010. Look how muddy that water is. So that was what I was talking about earlier, is that the the clarity of this lake changes a ton. 2013 was the best one that I found, though. So let's stick with 2013, and I'm going to move this over, and we're going to jump in here and get started. So we always start down by the dam. And before I get started, make sure go out simplisticfishing.com. You can pick up all of these waypoints. I'll put them on a card for you and send them to you. You just plug them into your graph and you go. Or I can also email you the digital files. You can put them on your own SD card and do it that way. So a couple different options to go out and get these waypoints and take advantage of them, but I'd strongly suggest you do it. It's simplisticfishing.com. So let's start over here right at the dam. We're going to move our way up and to the east, and then we'll move our way back down the west side. So really on the dam, as far as this side goes, really it's just riprap. There's nothing else too special about it, but a dam that has riprap is always a very good dam. So, which is pretty much almost every dam. So definitely want to be fishing there for sure. Now, when we come over here on the right side, you're going to see here, we've got some stick ups here, and you can see in this picture, you see a lot of stick ups, right? It's really obvious, like, duh, there's stick ups here. Like those old willow bushes. But if you move it up to say, let's go up a couple years, even if I moved it up to 2014, 2015, you don't realize that those are there anymore. So I would imagine there's got to be remnants of those bushes being there. So definitely take a look at those and see if those old stick ups are there. If they are, that's providing you a pretty good line of stick ups just off the bank line. So you got to come off of it a little bit and fish the outside edge of it. You could have some success there. As we move on up here, we've also got a boat ramp. So definitely check that out. And notice there's a couple boats here lined up on these seawalls. Now, I don't know if they're there because of the boat ramp or if they're there because there's something on this seawall, but may want to check out that seawall as well, just based on the fact there's two boats sitting right there beside it. Now, as we move on up here, really, this was a tough one because the water doesn't really come down a lot. This is actually the farthest I could get the water to come down. And it's really not that far down, but it's far down enough and clear enough where I can start to see things on the bank line. So you can see here, we've just got a couple different laydowns marked. There's one pretty decent laydown right there, another decent one right there, and then just kind of scattered throughout here. So obviously if you're on that laydown pattern, you know, you just want to look at your graph, see where do you see the biggest clump of laydowns and head that direction. Right here, I really like all of this. You've got a bunch of laydowns right here off the edge of this point. So you got a laydown here, here, and here, and then one over here. So I really like that. Plus, obviously, this is probably an offshore spot as well, I would imagine. But being that just how that point sets up, that looks really, really good. Also coming over here, you got another laydown that I marked over there. Didn't see too much here. Lots of houses and docks and things like that to fish around. Lots of seawalls to fish around as well. If you've never fished the seawall pattern, that's worth a try too. Get up on the edge of them, like literally like parallel to them, and fish down the side of it. And really just slow and methodically just fish right along. I mean, you're only fishing within the first 2 or 3 feet from that wall. So basically from the wall to about 2 foot out, and just stay in that zone. And you'd be surprised at how many fish will be right up against that wall, especially if that water gets really muddy. Really go to those seawalls and pay more attention to those seawalls. All right, so as I'm moving back in here, again, we just have a boat ramp, just lots of seawalls, nothing else to fish around. Nothing I could really mark for you guys. I did like this little area, and I told you to check it just because it looks very interesting. It has a little high spot here, and it looks like it could have some potential, some rock or stumps or some kind of cover that you might be able to fish around. So definitely check that out. If we move the slider up to 2017, that's when it was flooded. 2022, it looks a lot different. So you may want to check that and just see if that's worth fishing. I'm not sure if it's going to be or not, but definitely worth taking a look at. All right, so then coming over here, you got another point here. Seawall's getting crashed with some waves. That's pretty cool looking. And nothing down here that I saw. Let's move back and kind of show you guys where I'm at so far. So basically what I've done is I've started at the dam, and I've just kind of worked my way up through here. And you can see I had a whole section here where I just didn't really find much. There are these little pockets that come back in here. So, you know, in the springtime, you might want to come back in here and see if you can see anything spawning back in here. There's no current back in here. It's pretty well blocked by the wind and everything. So that can be a good area to look, but just nothing for me to be able to mark for you guys. Same thing back in here. Really nothing back in there I can mark for you, but it does look interesting fish back in there. But if you look right here in the entrance, it looks like you got those stick ups again. Now, again, if I move this up to 2022, those things disappear. So I'm hoping that those are flooded completely under the water. If they are, they're really good to flip around. So definitely check those out. See if they're there. Hopefully they are. Hopefully they're not gone. But take a look at it. And I've marked several of those things on this lake. So if that ends up being a good deal, you've got plenty of them to fish. So we're going to keep moving up here. Didn't see too much around, just lots of docks, lots of dock fishing. Some debris right up in here. Let me zoom in here so you can see it. I don't even know if we're going to be able to see it on this image. We might have to go back a little bit further. Oh, there we go, right there. So 2011, if we pull that back, there was an old dock there. So they likely cleaned that up. There's usually remnants of those docks somewhere. So I would fish right in there and just see, or at least scan right in there and see if you see any old debris or anything like that. Those fish will definitely collect those things. Then moving on up, we've got another boat ramp right in here. We move on up around the corner. Again, a lot of seawalls. When the seawalls come in play, that kind of knocks me out of being able to find stuff. But right in here, we've got some more debris that's right in this section right here. And I might have to move this back and forth in order for you guys to be able to see it. But right there, we've got some debris as well. So I'm going to pull this back, show you guys where I'm at real quick. I'm just below the bridge there. We're going to keep moving up and show you what else we found up in here. Just mainly just a laydown that's right here. Pretty decent sized laydown. Nothing too crazy. Lots of seawalls. That may be a ramp back there that I miss. I think it is. So we got a ramp back in there that you could check out. I'm not sure if that's even worth fishing. But you never know. Sometimes the places that look like they shouldn't have any fish are going to be in the best spots. You've also got some rock out here that's right here off the edge of the point that looks pretty interesting. So I would definitely fish around that, fish around the bridge. Anytime you're fishing around bridges, I mean, that's going to be a good place to fish for sure. You've got some additional rocks that are right up here. So just north of that bridge, you hit that rock on the bridge, and then you come up here, and there's some rock right there by wherever that shed is. So if you can find that little shed, that rock area should be right in that spot. To keep moving up, we've got another ramp over here. This looks like Spanish Cove subdivisions. You got a ramp there, a little subdivision ramp. And again, sometimes those ramps can be good. If you were watching my videos before, go out on those ramps, throw shaky heads on them, look for rocks around the edges of those ramps, like where it's all washed out at the bottom of it. That's always a good area as well. The bluegill collect there, so that brings in the bass. But definitely shaky heads and wobble heads. Those are my two favorite things to throw around those boat ramps. You've got lots of laydowns here. So you can check out these laydowns. You've got an isolated tree. It could be like a little cypress tree or something, but it's isolated, so I love it. I would definitely fish that tree. Got a couple more laydowns. So again, if they're on that wood pattern, standing timber or laying down, I mean, this is going to be a good area to go look, right around in this little area right here. You've got some debris up here as well. So plenty of stuff to fish right around in that pocket. Move it up here, you've got another ramp, and then you've got rock that surrounds this whole little point that comes out, which that's always really fun to fish. Again, shaky heads are always good around those areas, and also square bill crankbaits. You get up parallel against that stuff and throw a square bill, you're probably going to catch some fish. Got more rock that's out here. This looks like it could be an old roadbed, so you may want to check it out and see if it goes any further out here. In fact, it could just follow those power lines. Let's pull it back. So you can see it almost looks like an old road where those power lines are. I don't know if it is or not, but check it out. If it is, check it out on this side too, but check it out on this one too, and just see, because sometimes those old road beds, they can have a lot of old rock and stuff like that can be phenomenal to fish around. So look right in here where I've got rock there, but pull off a little bit more and see if you can find anything a little bit further out here. All right, let's keep going. So we've got some more laydowns right in here. That laydown is actually not even there yet, but if I moved to 2013, you'll be able to see the laydown, or 2014. There's a laydown in there somewhere in one of these years. You've also got a laydown right back here. You've got some debris that's over here by this ramp. If you zoom in really closely, there's that big laydown right there. Maybe I wasn't zoomed in far enough on the other one. Yeah, there's the laydown. I've got an old ramp right here. This area in here, I like stuff like this, like where you've got the debris, you got some standing pillars, you got standing timber pretty much because you got the pillars, you got rock because you got the ramp, you got a little cove back in here, lots of debris. It all sets up pretty good. So I was definitely look right in this area. Then as we move over here, we've got more docks. Got an interesting little ditch that's back in here. You can't see it very well on this image, but it comes right through here. Let me see if I can pull it back far enough to show you guys. I don't know if it's going to let me. But anyways, check out that area. I don't want to bore you guys trying to flip through all these different dates, but definitely look in that area. There's a little ditch that runs right through here. So right in here could be a pretty decent little area to check out. You've also got the laydowns here. Looks like they got some tires or something out here, but I believe that all stays above the water. So I don't know if those are tires or concrete pillars. If they're concrete pillars, flip around those pillars because you might be surprised at what you'll catch there. All right, let's keep moving up. Got another lay down over here. Just kind of lay down so scattered sometimes. We got a boat ramp, another boat ramp, more ramps up here as well. Got some debris right here off this point that looked interesting. If you look, it's like all this old concrete crap. But man, the fish love to set up on that stuff. So definitely come out here, fish around this point, see how far that stuff goes out in the water. If it's pretty shallow, get up close to it. If it's further out, definitely back off a little bit. But that looks like it could have some pretty good potential for you. There's old boat ramps there as well. There's another ramp over here. That looks like a main ramp now. And then you've got a lay down that's really close to the, not really riprap, but I guess the concrete slab that's down here by the dam. You've also got another lay down here as well. Now, as we move further up, we've got some rock that's right in here. Right here off the edge. And of course, these are always prime spots to fish when you're fishing when you're fishing bridges, right? You want to fish all the causeways for sure. Never stop. So then as we move a little bit further up, we've got some rock that's here as well. I'm going to keep moving on up. And we've got two ramps that are here. So you've got a ramp that's right here and a ramp that's right here as well. They're going to keep going on up the shoreline here. Didn't see too much, just more ramps, just kind of a lot of ramps. Not a lot, but a medium amount of ramps, I'm going to say. And then we get up here, we got another lay down. And then once we get further up here, now we're starting to make our way a little bit further north. I'm going to go up this pocket. We're going to swirl back around. I'm probably going to stop right around here, but I want to show you this stuff up here because I thought it was interesting. But as we get up here, we've got that lay down here. We've got stick-ups that are way out here as well. Now, you don't see them in 2011, but in 2013, you start to see a patch of them. So these, if they're still there, and maybe that could be floating vegetation. I doubt it, but it could be, and maybe that's why it's not there. It's there sometimes and it's not there. I hope it's not, but if it's not, those stick-ups should still be there, and that should be a really good offshore spot to take a look at. You've also got some more of it over here. Just backwater stuff just looks fun. I mean, go back here, throw your frogs and stuff like that. That all looks like a lot of fun, definitely. And then you've got some more of these stick-ups that are up here. The creek channel here, I didn't really mark it for you because honestly, I can tell where it's at visually from here, but I think you're going to know that when you're on the boat where the actual creek channel is. So I didn't mark it for you on this one, but definitely could have just marked it right through there. But pretty good little river channel that you could go up there, get up here in the back stuff, and really have a lot of fun just fishing that river channel and stuff like that. So if I was here, I like to go up there and get in that really shallow stuff. So I'd probably venture up here and just see what's up here. But again, there's not a lot of stuff that I can mark up there for you guys. Now, as we move further down here, though, we get into more stuff, right? We got to lay down here. There's two of these isolated trees. I guarantee there's fish on these trees. At some point in time, there's fish on these trees. They love that stuff when they come off these points like that and they're isolated. So here's going to be a good spot. Right here is going to be a good spot. And then what I did here was I just made a track and I circled all of the stick-ups that were here. So that way, if you're out there and you're wondering where those are at and they just say stick-ups and you can't visually see them, definitely scan that area where that circle is and see if you can see those stick-ups on your graphs. If you can, I'm telling you, those are going to be good places to go fish for sure. All right, so I'm going to draw this back down to 2013 so we can keep going. We've got some stick-ups in here as well. Same thing that we were talking about earlier. Of course, we already talked about that one. And then we get back in here, again, some really good stuff, right? I really like this area in here. The main river channel's over in here somewhere. And so this is all the kind of the backwaters from the main river channel. So these could all be really good spots. You've got some really good isolated trees back in here. Cypress trees probably is what they look like. Got more back in here. I mean, it all just looks really, really good. So I would spend some time in here for sure. I would also spend a lot of time right out here because if you look out here, you've got really good cover everywhere, more trees, lay downs. more trees, lots of those stick ups just in the area. So just a real good spot right in there. You've got more isolated trees and stuff out here too. So if it was me, I'm looking for more of the isolated stuff. There's a lot here, right? There's a lot that looks really good. So when you get into those areas where it just everything looks good, then you've got to kind of reset your mind and say, okay, I know everything looks like it should have a fish on it, but let's narrow this down and let's pick out the things that are very isolated. And if you start doing that, I think you'll start seeing that you're going to have some more success. So, for example, like if you're coming up in here to fish, maybe instead of fishing all of this, you spend a lot of time right in here on the isolated stuff, like right in here and right in here, instead of spending all that time going down the bank line. It's just something that I've tried before several times, and I feel like it works really well for me. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So let's talk about this top part. I'm actually going to end at that bridge so we don't start in a weird spot, but we've got a couple more rocks that are up here. Now this spot in here, this is very interesting from a Google Earth standpoint. So I want you to look at it right now. And then I'm going to move these dates back and forth, and I just want to show you what happens here. So I'm going to go up here. We're going to move this up. I shouldn't have hit that button. Let's go back one. All right, I'm in 2016 right now. Now you can see that it's almost like the river kind of has reshaped this. So you don't see the rock here, but now you see something going on right in here, right? 2016. Go to 2017. Now you can kind of see it. It's all muddy and it's a bad picture, but you can tell there's a bunch of stuff right in here. So there's a big island or something out here. 2019, totally different, right? Now you can see the island. Everything's still muddy and flooded up, or I don't know if it's flooded or not. It's just super muddy, but you've got this little island that's out here. So you got to be careful when you come over in this area. Definitely be very careful, because I could see you doing a lot of damage on your boat right in this area. But this stuff could be prime. I mean, you want to go out here and check these out. There's some rock up there. I think if I keep going, you'll actually see the rock here in a minute. But there's some rock further out here. So right off the edges of it, you got to lay down there. If this is underwater, you got a little pond in there too. So just a little interesting spot. I would definitely check that out. And then you got a pretty decent little creek channel that's back here as well that you could look at and get back up in if you wanted to. So let's end there. When I come back on the next video, we're going to start at that bridge and we will work our way down and finish up Lake Houston. Remember, go out, check out my website, simplisticfishing.com, to pick up your waypoints, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Come back next time and we'll be talking about Lake Houston. We're going to start at this bridge, Farm to Market 1960. We're going to start there and work our way south, and that will wrap us up for the Google Earth side. Then we're going to switch over and we're going to talk about offshore hotspots on this lake. So we'll cover it all. Stay tuned. Have a good one.